All right, welcome back. So today I'm going to show you how to format a hard drive. Now, if you've ever gone to the store and tried to buy a hard drive, you will notice there are specific hard drives formatted for a Mac only. And it just so happens that you pay for that specific Mac formatting. However, almost all drives are basically exactly the same. All that's really happening with those drives is they have been pre-formatted for a Mac. This isn't something that you can't do yourself. So if you go to a store and you have the option between a SanDisk drive that's formatted for Windows and one that's formatted for a Mac, and the Mac is $25 more, go ahead and buy the Windows one. It's not going to make any difference, and it's really easy to do. This is something that you can do in less than 5 minutes, or really in a few minutes. It's very, very simple process. And whether you have an SSD or a traditional optical drive, this process will work for both of those drives. So I have an old drive here. I think it's a Western Digital, and I had been using it on my old computer as a time machine backup. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to reformat that drive for my new computer and use that as a time machine backup again. However, I'm just going to wipe it clean, and that's going to solve a lot of issues. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and you can use Alfred or Spotlight. Now I'm going to use Spotlight because some people aren't going to have Alfred. So what we're going to do is just come in here and type disk utility. And disk utility is really easy to find. So we're just going to go ahead and find that. And it's going to bring up this window, and we'll just come up here and we'll make this giant so that everybody can see it. Now, if you are worried about doing this and reformatting the wrong drive, I would suggest that maybe you remove your other hard drives. And you definitely do not want to format this Macintosh hard drive. This is your hard drive with your computer. Mine is easily labeled, so it's this backup time machine right here. And what you want to do is just go ahead and select that. Now you can see right now, this is a physical volume, and this is formatted for Mac OS Extended Journaled, and that's what we're going to do. And the reason I'm reformatting this is, one, just for the video, but I just want to start this thing off with a clean slate. So once you select it, it's going to give you all the information about that type of hard drive. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we are going to go ahead and click erase. Now, the first thing it's going to let you do is give it a new name. Now I'm going to keep this as backup time machine. And if we click on this, it's going to have a whole bunch of different options. Now up here we see APFS, and this is Apple's new file system. And we have a couple different versions of this. We have the regular version, we have an encrypted version, and we have a case sensitive version, meaning that if you were to do all lowercase pig and then do another file with uppercase pig, it's going to see those as two different file types because it is case sensitive. And then down here, you can do case sensitive and encrypted. APFS is a great new system. However, it's not going to work for this drive because it's an optical drive. You only want to format APFS on an SSD or some sort of flash drive. You also need to make sure that you have the Mac OS 10.13 or later. So that's High Sierra or Catalina at this point. Anything before that, APFS will not work. Now, the old system here is Mac OS Journaled. So we have Mac OS Journaled. And then once again, we go through the same sort of options where they're encrypted and case sensitive. The last two options here are hybrid options. And a lot of times when you get a drive, what you're going to see is that that is formatted for Windows file system. And that is Windows native format. So some people need the option that they have a hard drive that will work both on Windows and Mac. And that is definitely something that anybody can do. Now, MS-DOS is a really old technology. And truthfully, 99.9% of the time, it is not something that anybody is actually going to choose. Also, I think there is a limit of a 4 gigabyte file size. And if you have something bigger than that, it won't even work in MS-DOS. Now, exFAT is going to allow you to be able to read and write on both Mac and PC. So this is a great option if you are trying to reformat and you need to use a disk drive, both Windows and Mac. We're going to be using Mac OS Extended Journal in this case because it's just going to be for Time Machine, and this is going to be our best option. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Now, one thing that you should know, if you are using exFAT drives, sometimes when you select them, you're going to have a secondary option here. You might see 3 different options. One's called Apple Partition Map, and that's for the old Power PC. You're going to see GUID, which is guide, and that is used for any Intel-based Mac. And the last option is Guided Bootmaster, and that is what you would use if you are reformatting as an exFAT drive. You want to use Master Boot Guide. So in my case, I'm going to be doing Apple OS X Extended Journal. I'm just going to go ahead and hit erase. Just like that, this computer has been reformatted. Right here, we have security options. And if you ever have a drive that you have been using that might have some information that you don't want people to get, what you can do here is you can slide this up and you can go to here, to here, to here. And each step that you go up, it's going to take longer and longer. But basically, so what that's going to do is it doesn't really have any information. So I'm just going to do fastest. And that's why it went through really quickly. If you do most secure, it can take a long time to erase the disk. So be ready that this isn't going to take 5 or 10 seconds, that this could take much, much longer when you do it. So we're going to go ahead and just hit OK because we're not going to use it, and then cancel once again. I'll come in here and let me do exFAT to see if that guided partition map comes up. So we're just going to go ahead and hit erase, and it's not needing to use it. Now, occasionally you're going to get this, and this is good. It says erasing Time Machine backup and operation failed. I've had this happen lots of times when I do exFAT drives. So what I would do is just go ahead, click on that drive once again. Notice it's just reading it as disk 4. I'm going to hit erase again, and we'll just leave it as untitled, and we're going to change it to exFAT. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit erase. Usually the second time that you do this, it goes through and it works perfectly. So you can see right there, erase process is complete, hit done. And bam, just like that, we've switched this to an exFAT partition. Don't be worried if you have a drive and the first time you get an error. This happens a lot. I do students' drives in my school all the time, and they have PCs at home and they're using Macs in the school. So not a big deal. So once again, we're just going to erase this, and I'm going to change this back to Mac OS X Extended Journal. And I'm going to type in Time Machine for this. And we're just going to go ahead and hit erase, and it should go through the process, erasing the disk. And you can see this is really, really fast. And once it's done, we are ready to go. It should rename that disk as Time Machine. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And just like that, Time Machine is ready to go. And that is how you reformat a drive on a Mac using Disk Utility. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave those below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe.